February 11th, 2025, we've got the reading of Exodus 32, 33, and 34, those three chapters. My review of those for reading the Bible in a year. This is where we get the golden calf, where the Israelites make a golden calf out of their earrings with Aaron. Why? It's just, what morons, you think when you read this. But are we those morons? How often do we forget to seek after God or change that? How often could we fall into that kind of trap and forget God? I think of, as I was going through my day, at the end of the day, I was trying to pray constantly and seek God, and I know I've went hours without really thinking about God the way I wanted to. And I love to think about Him and just pray and thank Him, but hours. But would I do this? Would I fall into that? I pray not. Lord, please keep me from that. Because even Aaron got tied up into this. He created this golden calf and later tried to deny it. Just strange, just weird and terrible. But yet, how do we fall into the same kind of things? And God wanted to kill him for it, and righteously so. And Aaron and Moses even got very upset with him when he put his eyes on it. Then we get this little blurb about, well, before I get into that, later on it talks about Moses offering himself to be removed and take the punishment. Moses wasn't worthy. We know that, but he said, no, we're not going to do that, Moses. We're going to forgive them, but we're going to make certain people pay for it. You're going to see who's truly following me. We're going to kill the rest. And that's what happened. But the Lord changed his mind about the terrible disaster he had threatened to bring on his people. That doesn't sound like God at all to me. I don't understand that. Kind of looked at the root word, and it reminds me of in Genesis 6, where he was sorry that he made man. That's kind of where it took me. The root word is makun. It's a verb, and it's like sighing. It's like comfort. It's like, what does that mean? It doesn't quite fit. But why? And what do we need to know from it? What do we need to hear from it? Was God sorry? What did he mean? I can see where he was frustrated and perturbed, but God is all-knowing. I can see his anger, but his anger would destroy them if he went with them. He was still mad, but God's righteous, and it was a righteous anger, and it was for him, but yet he chose to forgive them. Was it just to show his restraint that he has and his true love for his people, that he will and can restrain? I don't know. Is it showing the prayer of a righteous person, somebody that was truly seeking him with all his heart, like Moses was? Moses was seeking God, and it's a very special way. Is he showing that's what he honors? And he honors the prayers of that. Moses had a great power because of that prayer, because of, he stopped God. He pleaded with God not to do that to them. We see that in Abraham. We see that in Abraham with the Sodom and Gomorrah, pleading with God not to destroy. And here we have it again in Moses. Well, what do we make of that? What are we supposed to make of that? Something to be considered. Something to think about. Something to wrestle with. Then, Moses got enraged by it. But then we get, the other next part that's just beautiful with all this section that I just love is just hearing the Lord came down in a cloud and stood there with Moses, and he called out his own name, Yahweh. The Lord called out Yahweh, and the Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahweh, the Lord the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity and rebellion and sin, but I do not excuse the guilty. I lay the sins of the parents upon their grandchildren, or their children and their grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations. Kind of frightening there too. And when Moses saw this, he immediately threw himself to the ground, and worshipped. That is a man. That's how we should be when we think about the awesome power of God. And the Lord, and he says he just wanted to display that awesome power and how good and powerful that he is. And he just wants us to believe that and know it and be humble enough in front of him and seek him. I just love that part about Moses asking to show me your glorious presence. And he says, I will make my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name Yahweh before you. For I will show mercy to anyone I choose, and I will show compassion to anyone I choose. But you may not look upon my face directly, for no one may see me and live. That's how powerful even God's face is. His face, we can't stand that kind of power. We just cannot fathom how powerful God is, and just the look of him and the sound of his voice and how awesome he is. Something to consider there. So what's God saying to me about this? Be humble, be careful. Be aware of how powerful God is. And yeah. Here's the next part that's really neat and a throw forward for Jesus. That Moses was on the mountain and in that for another 40 days and 40 nights, and he drank no water, ate no bread. The Lord God was his sustenance. The Lord God was all he needed, and his presence was enough to sustain his body, where he felt no thirst and felt no hunger, and his body continued to live, and not only live but thrive in a way that he was radiant to the people when he came back down. The people couldn't stand looking at him because he was so glowing, because of the power of God working in him. It's perfect. And God gives some very, very specific commands about the people coming before him 3 times a year. This is what we have to do. This is the covenant that I make, is you have to do these things. This is what makes you righteous. How beautiful is it that this is a foretelling of Jesus. Now we just need Jesus to make us righteous. His blood makes us righteous. By golly, I need that. But I think it's important to look at this and know that we need to seek him humbly and truly, and give him the best of what we have. Pretty amazing.